Good morning, bonjour everyone. Pardon my French, it's nearly as bad as Graham's, so I won't attempt it. But thank you for all attending this morning. I'm going to share with you a journey that we've been on for the last 4 years. And we are really very, very close now to actually coming to the end of that journey. And effectively, we've been building a massive CRM stroke customer insight and golden record and single customer view of our customers. And it's taken a long time to get there and lots of tribulations along the way. And I'm going to take you through some of that journey this morning. But first, before I start, can I just ask in the room, how many people here in terms of their businesses already have a single customer view in action? Anyone in the room? Anyone have a golden record of the customer? It is pretty leading edge. One, just the one. Very good. And I'm sure you've gone through some of the challenges that we've gone through, but I'll share some of those with you. So let me talk very quickly just about Moss Bros to give you a little bit of a background about the business that I work for. The business has been in existence for 160 years, very, very well established in the UK. We operate from about 130 stores in the UK. We have a couple of stores in Ireland and a couple of stores that are just about to open in the Middle East. But we have no presence in Europe. We basically have a very, very strong reputation for tailoring and garments, formal garments. And our heritage dates right back to the 1850s. And we actually made garments for the troops in World War I and World War II. We had a rabbit warren of a building which had lots of tailors in, lots of lamps, lots of sewing machines, and we actually manufactured for the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force in those days. And that's where the tradition started from and built from that period. We are a PLC, we're quoted on the London stock market, and we've had quite a turbulent history in the last few years. About 5 or 6 years ago, the business was really in danger of going under, and we've been on a massive turnaround, and that turnaround has been pretty successful, and we're now profitable as a business and growing. A lot of that has been down to just changing customer habits in terms of formal wear becoming a lot more on trend, but also the business getting its act together and moving with the times. Part of that moving with the times is that we've actually re-platformed our online businesses in the last couple of years. We've seen significant growth since we've done that. And that growth has taken us from an online business that had less than 2% of sales a couple of years ago to an online business this year that will probably achieve 15 to 18% of sales through the online channel. We also have a complex rental or hire business. In the UK, it's quite traditional for weddings for people to hire a traditional suit, and also for black tie, awards dinners, events, for balls, and for the summer proms when the kids leave school to actually hire suits. And we have a thriving business that does that, and we have about 18% of our sales that goes through the hire business. That creates a lot of complexity because obviously we want those garments back. So we have to have a chain in the business that actually takes the garments back through the store or through the distribution centre and recirculates those garments so they can be worn again. So it's a different type of business. We are the UK's #1 suit specialist. So if you go into one of our stores or you look at our online experience, we try to become a suit expert for you. We take you through the tailoring, we take you through the guide of what to wear, the etiquette, how a suit should fit, and what you should look like. So, single customer view, quite interesting. I've used this chart a few times and everyone says, why sheep? Well, I think the key thing for me is when you look at a single customer view, we aren't like sheep. We don't follow one leader. We are all individuals ourselves. And I'll take you through some of the history of how we've looked at customers in the past and how that is changing. And Graham touched on that in his first presentation a little. We are totally different as individuals, and we want to, as a business, try and get that single customer view, understand that individual, understand that behavior. but it's a massive challenge to try and achieve that. So a flock of sheep, and I'll tell you a little story here. Amazon, who we think is great at personalization and segmentation. My daughter was 11 this week, a couple of days ago, and we celebrated her birthday party. And about a week ago, I got an email from Amazon. When she was 4, I bought her a Barbie doll. My wife said, panic, panic, we need a Barbie doll. I had Amazon Prime, we bought a Barbie doll. I bought it in my name. Lo and behold, 10 days ago, I got an email from Amazon, Barbie dolls, Barbie doll accessories. Well, my 11-year-old has grown out of Barbie doll now. Barbie doll's gone, but Amazon haven't recognized that change in age or lifestyle, or the fact that it's me, a male, buying that probably for a gift and not understanding the whole life stage of what's happened to me and my family. So we all praise Amazon, but it is a very basic level in terms of what they do and how they do it. It is an absolute maze out there. Graham touched on some of the key elements around technology and how technology is changing the landscape. But customers are changing all the time. They go through marriage, they go through divorce, they have children, they go through different occasions, they go through different events, they move jobs. Everything is very, very different today. And the way we connect with them with a business, both through our technology platforms and through our stores, is massively changing. What may be required one week and then required the following week is totally different. So it is a real challenge and it is a real maze to try and understand our customers in today's age. We'd all love the world to look like that. As a marketeer at heart, as an e-commerce professional as well, I would love to have a very, very simple understanding of my customers. Very structured, very holistic, understanding how I can segment them, how I can break them down, when I can talk to them at the relevant periods and the relevant time. Life doesn't work like that in reality. So we spent, this I'll show you a few slides now. We spent about 3 years ago, we spent a lot of money trying to understand our customers. And we had a marketing approach at that time where we went out, we looked at our customers, we looked at the data that we had, which was very, very poor state. We've got 1.3 million customer records on our database. And we spent a lot of money, qualitative research, quantitative research. We had focus groups, we got everyone in a room, and we came up with 3 customer segments. And we called one of them Style Mavens. And this was the profile of our Style Mavens. They looked young and affluent, they were professional, they liked looking smart, they shopped by brand, they were really influenced by the brand. And we sell our own brands, but we also sell branded suits like Cerruti, Zegna, Boss, Ralph Lauren, DKNY, etc. So we thought this was a key target segment for us. We then looked at this sort of segment. We looked at exactly the age profile, 15 to 44. Wow, what a great, big disbursement of age. How do we capture age? We can't capture age in the store unless it's a very, very special event for a hire. We can't capture it in retail. We don't capture it online. We then worked out that they were, in terms of a demographic standing, they were at the top end of the market. So what we call in the UK, A, B, and C1. So very much top tier. High disposable income, working full time. They've got a home, they've probably bought a home, and 27% of them live in London. Great marketing information, fantastic information that we thought we could use. Brand conscious, as I said. Can't resist expensive cologne and aftershave, so Paris is a great place for that. Pay extra for personalisation, the career-orientated, trendy, enjoy clothes shopping. And we thought there were 2.2 million men in the UK that fitted that bill. And that's what we thought. We had 1.3 million on our database. So this was one of our type groups. We then came up with another one, another great name, affluent fashion indulgers, young and into fashion, self-conscious in a suit, so they probably didn't wear a suit for work, they just wore a suit very occasionally for an occasion of some sort, and effectively quite nervous about wearing a suit. wasn't a natural garment to wear, and they probably shopped online a lot. So they were typically someone like an ASOS shopper, someone that was actually shopping a lot online. And we thought, yeah, great, fantastic, we can go for that type of market. Really, really big. We think there are 2.5 million men of them in the UK, the 16 to 34 age group. You can see the sort of demographics on the left there. 21% of the students, so we thought we'd offer a student discount to entice them onto the site and into the stores. Probably still got high family income because they were occasionally wearing a suit. They were more likely to be single than married, and still quite a few of them lived in and around London. And they really were at the cutting edge of fashion. So some of the behaviours and attitudes that they had, they were really sort of celebrating celebrities and following celebrities, so very much the ASOS type shopper, the new digital online shopper. And we also found out they'd be open to cosmetic surgery. I don't know what guys were going to do with cosmetic surgery, but anyway, that's one of the things we found out. And I think, you know, in terms of when you just look at that, you just think, well, none of that is appropriate today. You know, I know that, you know, I am sort of just in the last age group on the previous one, and yet I behave like this as well. I do some of this some of the time. I change per week, per situation that I am in, per role I'm in, and everyone does it today. So the old way of looking at customer segments and how we would actually start targeting different segments is drastically changing and moving in this world. So we came up with a vision sort of about 2 or 3 years ago when we started this journey, and we came up with this long sentence: we do want to be the first menswear retail specialist to implement an innovative order anywhere, deliver anywhere, a single stock pool, click and collect system across all our shopping channels using our single customer view. And that was a great vision. That gave us something to focus in on. These were the things we were going to develop. We were going to develop them in store, and we were going to develop them online. So what did that mean for us? And what did that actually say in terms of that vision? Well, somehow we had to connect all of these channels. We had to connect the home customer, the person using e-commerce or a catalogue, the social media customer, the mobile customer with the prevalence of mobile today, the in-store system, both in a high street and we have out-of-town stores as well. And how do we get the fulfillment channel to work across all of these different channels and all of these different interactions? And the whole aim of this was to try and improve our customer experience for customers, but also improve the brand engagement. We strongly believe if we can get the brand engagement and customer experience to move, we will increase our sales and then become a lot more profitable by doing that. So how did we connect all that? And how did we plan to do that? Well, we did a lot of route planning, or customer journey planning as we called it in those days, and we actually shaped and actually mapped out all of our customer journeys, be it in store, how people shopped in store, how they interacted with the EPOS system, how they interacted with the staff. We then looked at our online platform. We looked at how customers shopped online. And one of the great things we found is that shopping online gave us a great clue on what we should do in our stores. For suits, the first thing the guy does when he goes to buy a suit is look for a fit. So you're either a slim fit, a tailored fit, or a regular fit. And that's your body shape. And you're immediately filtered and narrowed down. And we found from our online business that that was the number one filter. 80% of cases, people would actually filter down their product by fit. All our stores were previously merchandised by brand. So we had Ted Baker, DKNY, our own brands, etc., all above the fascias in terms of the in-store experience. We changed that. We refitted all the stores, and all the stores now are merchandised by fit, with the brand as the secondary message. And we saw sales massively improve and satisfaction with the customer journey improve in store. So we took something online and actually made that happen in store. So we have this fancy architecture that sits behind what we put together. And I won't go into some of the detail, and you don't need to understand some of the detail, but we have what we call a middleware piece, which is an engine called Cordis. Cordis basically links all of our systems together. So it links our warehouse system, our merchandise system, our store till systems, and our online platform. It all goes into Cordis. And then we have basically web services coming out of Cordis that feed into our CRM engine. We have a CRM engine that's called FastStats, and a lot of UK retailers use that engine, and we feed everything into FastStats. We also feed Qubit into that as well, and I'll show you how Qubit fits into this infrastructure as well. This is a real-time system. It basically takes all the sales and links and basically looks to actually match customers. So it actually looks at a customer that might be occurring in store or online and tries to match them through and create a golden record for them. And it tries to find those transactions across device as well. Qubit is actually our data layer. So Qubit fits across all of our sites. So all of our online sites, both the European sites that we have and the UK hire and retail sites that we have. It becomes our tag container as well. It manages all of our tags that sit on the websites as well. And all of our data feeds into cross-channel. So we use Decipher, the Qubit reporting tool, to actually interrogate some of the segments and how we communicate to customers. And I'll show you how we do that in a second with an example. But also, importantly, we use the A/B testing as well. So the A/B testing for us is quite crucial. It allows us to improve that customer experience online and actually make that customer journey holistic with the store experience as well. So I'll give you an example. So on our hire business, for instance, now, we have so far advanced in terms of our hire business that you can go online, you can actually start your journey online, register an account, use the outfit builder, come up with 4 or 5 different outfits. You can then socially engage with your Facebook friends and actually get people to vote on which outfit they like best. So if it's for a wedding, as a guy, you can actually send that out and say, which do I look best in? What's the best color cravat? What's the best color tie? Is this waistcoat the right pattern, etc.? And people can vote back, so you can actually share that. You can then actually take that journey in store if you wish. You can either book a sizing appointment online, and we now have electronic calendars in all of our stores. So literally you can go online, book an appointment in any of our stores nationwide. That appointment is then guaranteed. Stores use those diaries electronically now, whereas previously they used to use a little black book. The black book would always get lost. Someone couldn't read someone else's writing. 2 people would turn up at the same time and there wouldn't be enough staff to measure that person. And now you can literally have that product either delivered to store or delivered to a venue where your event may be, which might be a hotel you're staying at if you're away from home, delivered to the office or wherever. Previously, everything went to the store. You had to pick up the garments from store, then you had to return everything to the store. We will now actually pick up the garments once you've worn them at the event with a courier pickup, all timed to an hour slot. And so you can actually come and have them picked up at the office or picked up at the hotel next morning after your event. So a whole integrated customer journey that we've actually got going in the hire. So in terms of Qubit, I thought it was quite interesting. One of the key things that I think we look at in terms of some of the Qubit elements, and I think I didn't want to repeat in some of the demo that you saw earlier, but one of the key things for me is we look at a lot of our repeat customer journeys to see where those most valuable customers are. We know that if a shopper shops in our online store, shops in our stores, and shops on mobile, so the 3 key channels for us, online, web, mobile, and store, that customer is worth 3 times as much to us as a single channel customer. And we can quantify that. So we absolutely know that. So it's very key for us to encourage customers to put multiple orders through, both in store and online. And you can see here, we're actually generating that first order through most of the marketing channels that I'm sure you're using in the businesses that you're in. So affiliates, SEM, etc., SEO and direct traffic. You'll be all doing that. But as you progress to more loyal customers that are placing more and more orders, you see that direct relationship with that customer becomes more important. So they're coming directly to us, they're bookmarking us, we're not spending any marketing euros to actually attract them into the business, and they're engaging with our emails a lot more as well. They're engaging, they're looking at our emails, they're looking at some of the style tips, they're looking at the offers that we're making, we're looking at exactly how we develop the business and how we develop that relationship with them. So what have we learned through this journey? Well, I think the key thing for me is very complex. So the sheep that we saw earlier, it is very complex. It is a maze. You've got to get everything thought through up front. Spend a lot of time planning. Plan the customer journeys, plan the infrastructure that you're going to put in, plan the web services that you're going to actually link, or the APIs that are going to link together. Time. Well, I've put X months. We overshot by a considerable amount of time. 18 months or so, we've overshot. We're a public listed company. We promised the city in London, in terms of the stock market, that we would have this system up and running by, I think it was September 2014. We're only just there now. So you've got to really set your targets and understand the complication when you start doing this. The business processes, I think one of the key elements that we underestimated was we looked at our existing business processes, and the first cut before I got to the business was we just took those business processes and turned them into an online store experience. We didn't look at those business processes and say, how do we reinvent that? How do we make them change so that the customer gets a better experience? We all knew that the existing processes weren't right. So how do we actually change that so the customer's getting a slick experience and slick brand engagement? And that is one of the key elements, I think. We had lots of technical issues, data files issues. I spoke about 1.3 million customer records we have in the business. A lot of those records were collected in store, and they are just terrible quality. I'm sure anyone here in the room that has stores, trying to capture data from customers in stores is very difficult. One, you've got the customer that might not be willing to give that data, but the second big issue is the staff member being bothered to actually ask or to collect it, and then to collect it, to accurately put it into the system so it's spelt correctly. You can force staff members to actually do it on the EPOS screen so that they actually are asking. But what they do is they take a shortcut and they just make up an email address. And as soon as they make up an email address, you've got a dirty record, which causes lots of issues. And we had a lot of dirty records. Cultural challenges. I think one of the elements for us is developing this. You've got to start to re-engineer the organization. You've got to start thinking about the customer. A lot of retailers in the UK work in very, very strict silos. Departments and functions work as a function and very much not cross-team. This is a different type of environment that you've got to respond to. If you're going to embrace a single customer view, you've got to start thinking about how you join up those departments, how you bring everyone into the fold, and how each department's going to be using that. Testing. I think the key element for us is massive testing. We underestimated totally the amount of testing that would be required on connecting these infrastructures together. And again, it's just an important element that you need to get through. And definitely, we've launched all of our higher proposition in terms of the web and the new look as beta propositions. We never launched them fully rolled out. We made it very clear to the customer and set expectations, because it was so complex putting this together, that they were beta. And we were asking for feedback along that beta to try and improve some of those processes as we went along. But I think, a lot of these things are very, very similar to major IT projects. and it had an IT backbone, but I think the key element is the business has to lead it. You need to have the chief executive of the business, if you're a bigger business, behind this, setting the vision, leading the change, and looking at the culture as well. So we could have been a complete mess. When we put this live, we did have a real fear about whether we'd actually have some chaos going on in some of our channels. It was big changes that took place. I mean, luckily, we actually resolved that and got through it. And we're pretty close. You know, we are very, very close now. We've got data passing through all the systems. They're all working. All the APIs work. We're linking things together. We've literally just completed this week our data quality framework, which basically cleans all that data and dedupes it and actually gives a customer ID to one record, and we can track that customer across devices now using all of our tracking that we've got in place. All our CRM data is being built every night, so all the updates go through from all the sales and the customer transactions, all the web browsing that happens on the site. We even include our customer reviews that go into the CRM system. We also include anyone that goes into store and accesses our Wi-Fi. They may not purchase, but they access our Wi-Fi, they go in as well. We take all the Qubit data into the CRM system as well, and we have our email service provider linked into that. So we can actually cut and segment and dice our customers in lots of different ways. We have a complete first view on all the triggers, so we can actually now start building triggers in. So I can recognize a customer that might be a Ted Baker customer that shops in store, that doesn't shop online. I can then give them an incentive but perhaps shop online, because if they shop online and in store, I know they're worth more to me. So we actually are now beginning to build some very, very simple triggers on how we actually try and encourage more brand engagement and more sales. We've actually gone through a massive change in the last couple of years. It's taken me personally 2 years to convince my finance director that we would give all the online sales to stores. So instead of having an online P&L, which we do still have, but instead of having that sales number being purely online, we actually give all of our sales now to the individual stores. So the stores have a P&L with online sales sat on it, and the staff get online commission. So our staff are all commissioned on sales. So they actually see separately on their wage slip online commission. So they can actually see how much they're earning. And that's pretty important, because when you want a customer going in store and you don't have that stock in the store available at that time, you want that customer to shop online. You want them to be satisfied with the experience that they're getting, and you want that staff member to recommending they shop online, or actually showing them how to shop online while they're present. So you need that integration. Data capture and quality, we spoke about, massive, massive challenge to get that changed and to get accuracy on that. And whenever I preach to the store teams, to me, it's never about the number of data points that you're catching. It's all around the quality. I'd rather have one data quality record out of 10 than 9 rubbish pieces of data. The rubbish pieces of data just cost us money to process and get them out of the system. And we're just now on our first test campaigns. We're just literally starting to do that. And I think the key element, again, for me is we have a couple of analysts in our business, is to stop those analysts sort of delving down into some of the micro detail. There's a great temptation once you have this to get into the micro detail. And I'm trying to keep everyone focused on the big wins. You know, what are the big opportunities that can make a difference quickly? Don't start thinking about that individual customer. There might be 2 of them right the way down the decision tree, and start thinking about marketing to them. Think about the bigger wins earlier on. Get clever a little bit later. It's a bit like sort of crawling before you walk, I suppose, and before you run.